Have you ever reacted to someone, your partner, a friend, a colleague, and later realized your reaction had more to do with you than with them? That the intensity you felt didn't match what actually happened, but felt justified in the moment? Maybe they were just quiet, but you felt ignored. Maybe they disagreed with you, and you felt disrespected. Maybe they asked for space, and you felt abandoned. Or maybe they expressed emotion, and you felt accused. These moments are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your psyche is trying to protect you using old information. That is projection, when your inner world colors your perception of another person before reality has a chance to speak for itself. Projection is not the problem. Unconscious projection is. When you project without realizing it, you do not relate to the person in front of you. You relate to a memory, a fear, a wound, a story you inherited, and you place it on someone who cannot carry it. Left unchecked, projection does not just distort relationships, it quietly destroys them. One assumption, one defensive reaction, one unspoken resentment at a time. Today we will explore projection deeply, not as theory, but as lived psychology. How it forms, why it takes over, how to recognize it in real time, and how to stop letting it ruin closeness, communication, and trust. Not by forcing yourself to be better, but by understanding yourself with honesty and maturity. 1. What projection actually is, and what it isn't. Projection is the unconscious act of assigning your own internal emotion, fear, or story to someone else when reality is still unclear. It is not about being dramatic, unstable, or irrational. It is an automatic survival mechanism. When someone raises their voice and you immediately feel small, that is projection. When someone asks for space and you immediately feel rejected, projection. When a partner expresses a need and you feel accused or inadequate, projection. When feedback feels like attack, projection. Projection is your nervous system saying, "This feels familiar, protect yourself." The myth is that projection happens because you don't know the other person well enough. The truth is that projection happens because you don't yet know yourself well enough. Projection is not weakness. It is unintegrated experience trying to complete itself. 2. How projection shows up in everyday life. Let's make this practical. Projection appears most often when you feel criticized faster than the situation calls for. You get defensive before understanding what's being said. You assume intention instead of asking for clarity. You read tone instead of listening to meaning. You punish someone for a feeling they didn't actually cause. You feel threatened when someone simply differs from you. 3 diagnostic signs. Speed, reaction happens immediately. Certainty, you instantly believe your interpretation. Rigidity, you defend your interpretation instead of asking questions. When you feel your reaction rising quickly and absolutely, pause and say to yourself, "My reaction arrived faster than the facts." That pause is the doorway to maturity. 3. Origins. The boy who learned to defend himself. Projection forms long before adulthood. A child cannot process complexity, only emotion. If a parent was unpredictable, the child learned to scan for danger. If love was conditional, the child learned to earn approval constantly. If emotions were punished, the child learned to suppress them. If vulnerability led to shame, the child learned to protect himself instantly. So the ego built a system. Anticipate before you get hurt. Interpret before you get disappointed. Withdraw before you get abandoned. Attack before you feel powerless. Shut down before you get overwhelmed. These strategies were not mistakes. They were protective genius at the time. But as a man, the world is bigger now. You are not powerless. You are not voiceless. You are not trapped in someone else's emotional climate. Yet the boy inside has not always heard this. When projection activates, ask, is this reaction coming from the man I am or the boy I once had to be? That single question will change relationships. If this exploration already feels like it speaks to something real in you, if you are recognizing the patterns, the boyhood defenses, the emotional reflexes, I want to share something with you. We created an ebook called Becoming Whole. It's not motivational fluff. It's a practical guide to understanding your inner patterns. The ego, projection, defensiveness, emotional closure, and learning how to lead yourself with maturity instead of fear. If this video is the understanding, the book is the practice. Because hearing truth is one thing, living truth in your relationships is another. You'll find the link below in the pinned comment. Now, let's continue. 4. Contact without collapse. The moment projection arises is not the moment to react. It is the moment to feel and observe. Contact without collapse means I can feel the surge without obeying it. Your partner goes quiet. Fear rises. I'm being rejected. Pause. Feel your chest tighten. Name it. This is old. Then ask gently, hey, I noticed you got quiet. Are you tired, thinking, or upset with me? Notice the options. You are giving reality a chance to answer. Another example. A colleague challenges your idea. You feel threatened. They don't respect me. Pause. Feel the heat. Then say, let's explore it. Help me understand how you see it. That is power, not passivity. 5. Containment before expression. Containment does not mean suppression. Suppression is fear. Containment is leadership over your emotional state. Containment sounds like, I'm feeling reactive. Give me a moment. Containment gives your nervous system time to catch up to truth. It keeps you in adult consciousness. A man who can hold emotion without dumping it is not weak. He is sovereign. 6. Consequences of avoidance versus integration. Avoid projection, and you will live in attack or retreat. You will distrust good people and cling to familiar pain. You will turn partners into enemies, friends into threats, situations into battles. Real damage doesn't start big. It starts small. A tone, a sigh, a misunderstanding, a reaction. That's how relationships crack quietly over time. But when projection is integrated, you trust yourself enough to ask questions. You soften without losing boundaries. You feel emotion without collapsing into it. You give people a chance to be who they are, not who the past taught you to fear. You create real intimacy instead of emotional defense systems. That is adulthood in its truest sense, self-governing emotional strength. 7. Archetypal framing. In Jungian terms, projection collapses archetypes into their shadows. The warrior becomes reactive, not protective. The lover becomes anxious, not connected. The magician becomes suspicious, not perceptive. The king becomes controlling, not trustworthy. Integrating projection matures the psyche. Warrior becomes calm strength. Lover becomes safe intimacy. Magician becomes clarity. King becomes discernment and stability. This is not abstract. This is the lived structure of a man who knows himself. 8. Responsibility and witness. To grow past projection, you need 2 things. Solitude, to hear your own mind without noise. Relationship, to see yourself reflected honestly, not isolation. Not performance, presence, with yourself and with others. When projection arises, say, Pause, breathe, ask instead of assume, and then practice, not perfectly but reliably. Growth is not measured by how rarely you react, but by how quickly you return to yourself with dignity. Projection is not proof you are broken. It is proof you are human, shaped by memory, learning to see again with clear eyes. Do not shame yourself for reacting. Do not let reaction lead you. Hold yourself steady. Let truth rise. Let relationships be real, not haunted. Be the man who sees before he speaks, who feels without collapsing, who leads the boy inside rather than abandoning him. Not perfectly, reliably. Begin. If this helped you see your emotional world more clearly, subscribe and like this video. It helps this work reach others committed to psychological maturity and genuine inner growth. Thank you.